So good evening, everybody. This is very exciting, isn't it? We've got a massive, full house. Everybody's just bailed in, all at once. So one more time, give a shout out to Tom, Dawn, Nikki, Adam, Ricky, Corinne, James, Caroline, Linda, Adam again. I never said Adam. Andrea, Sarah Jane, Wendy's in the house. Lucy's here. May Tap, I think that's a totally new name. Don't know. Jill is here as well. Hope everybody's good. If you're watching on the replay or you're listening on the audio experience on iTunes or Stitcher, massive shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Do come and join us live one of these Monday nights. This is quite rare now. I'm looking out the window. It's so light. The sun is still out here in Manchester. Nearly 9:05. Freaking love summer. I just love the late nights where it gets nice and light to 10 o'clock, 10:30. Got an eye condition that means I can't see very well in the dark, so it's absolute music to my ears. Joe Barker's just joined. So we're going to be on for an hour, as usual, guys. We're talking about whatever you want to talk about, to be honest with you. I'm going to go over a few things to begin with. And then, I don't know. There's a few things we can carry on the conversation. We were talking last week all about agents. I put a brand new podcast out this morning on actsonthis.tv with a fantastic agent. I'll just show you where it is on the site if people are like, how do I find it? Go over to actsonthis.tv. Click in the What's New section at the top here. Can you see it next to where it says members areas there? It won't say members area if you're not logged in, by the way, so it will say login next to that. But What's New up there. Sorry for those on the audio experience. I'm just sharing my screen. You won't see this. There's the preview of it there. Acting agent phone-in with Archie Purnell from Icon Actors Management. He's a absolutely awesome Manchester-based agent who I've seen change the careers of many people, really close to me, around me, really quickly. This guy's really on it. He's shit hot, and he hustles in a way very similar wavelength to me. We don't do things by the book. Never have. I've never enjoyed just doing things by the book. He doesn't just, put his clients forward via, spotlight submissions. He talks all about it in this podcast. Basically, the podcast was around about 2 hours and 8 minutes in length, I think, by the time I edited it all together. One of the longest podcasts that I've ever done. But if you want to listen to a preview of it, 15 minutes for free there. Get yourself over to actsonthis.tv. You can check the preview out. If you want to listen to the full thing, just get a membership to the site. It's £2.50 a week. I'm absolutely not going to apologise for pushing that onto people. It's an absolute bargain if you are an actor and you are not part of the community on that site. Honestly, you're just missing out now. You really, really are. And also, the community's blowing up. 131 people joined last month. More people are joining more than ever. So if you're not becoming a part of it, without sounding brutal, but you're falling behind because people are learning stuff on these podcasts. These people that I get on casting directors, agents, actors share so much that isn't in the public domain, and if you're not getting access to it, it just means everyone else. There's no competition bar yourself. That's what we say in this industry. But ultimately, there is competition. There really is competition, and they will, get all that information, and you won't. Connor, how you doing? Good evening. So Yaz is here as well. Lynn's here. Bobby's here. Lucy said, I've just been listening to this podcast halfway through, just pause it to join you here, but Archie really knows his stuff. It's brilliant. Honestly, Lucy, it just gets better and better as well. This was the first podcast that I actually got people to phone in on as well. This is the first one where premium members of the community can give me their mobile number beforehand, and I get them to actually ask a question, and then I phone them up on the podcast and they can put it directly to the guest. So it's very, very different. This is the first one of many that I'm going to do like this now. Joe says, I watched the podcast this morning about the agent. Have you listened to the full thing though, Joe? So the vlog is just a 20-minute sort of behind the scenes video. The actual full podcast that I do are all over on actsonthis.tv in the members area. We've got an option tonight for those who haven't seen the vlog. I can play it out live if there's not, if loads of people on here have seen it, I don't want to play it out again. But if you can give me some comments, if you want to see it, I can play it out live tonight. Andrew's in the house. All right, mate. Hope you're good. He says back from Portugal. Enjoyed the podcast. Ben's here as well. Watching from Abu Dhabi. No way, Ben. That's wicked, man. I love it. We're going totally international. I put that podcast out. It's an incredible education on basically how you get an agent, what you should write to agents when you're, approaching them for representation, how you can nurture the relationship with your agent to just, make it better. How many people here have spoke to their agent in the last month? Just let me know how one of the things that came up from that podcast more than anything was the thing that screws actors up more than most things really when they have representation is a lack of communication with their agent. It seems like there is this hierarchy where people are shit scared of phoning their agent, for being seen as needy or being seen as a nuisance. People are not communicating to their agents what it is they want. And I tell a little story when I first got with the agent that I'm with now, with Jane, many years ago. The first audition she got me, I never wanted to do theatre. I just don't, people will think, oh, you're an actor, it's sacrilegious. It just doesn't float my boat. TV, film, I get so excited about. Theatre, honestly, I just don't enjoy it. I just don't want to be doing the same show every night, even for a week. Don't be doing the same show for 6 weeks if I was in something, in London, or in the West End or something, massive for months and months and months. I just don't like that. I love TV. I love the kind of like, this is it. You get a couple of takes, done, that's in the bag, and then, you crack on. And when I first got with Jane, she sent me to, with first audition, she sent me for a physical theatre piece. Now, theatre itself didn't attract me, but physical theatre, I've got no peripheral vision. I'm partially sighted, right? I'm visually impaired. I find it very difficult to be in enclosed spaces with lots of people running around me. Something that I hid at uni to my detriment. Like, I didn't want to go and say anything that would make me different when I was in my 20s. And you don't want to be like, oh yeah, I've got this problem. So I just didn't say anything at uni. When you do, I don't know if you've ever done those like drama school kind of like walk into a space exercise. Walk into a space, now dash into a space, now dart into a space. It's the worst thing you can do for anybody with tunnel vision because I can't see people cutting across me, where they're coming from. I headbutted this girl, Helen Trahar. If you ever see this, I'm so sorry, but I nearly knocked the girl out. And that was during a physical theatre show that we were doing. I just hated it. I was like, this is not for me. And it was at that point I'd take the director outside and say, listen, I've actually got a problem, because he went mental at me. He was like, you idiots, you clumsy idiot. I was like, oh my God, mate, like this is because I'm like, actually I can't see. But physical theatre was never my thing. And Jane sent me for a physical theatre audition the first week I was with her. Now, because I was like, oh, I'm so lucky to have an agent. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to seem a pest. Didn't say anything, really. I was like, oh, God, even if I got this job, I don't want to do it. I'm not being ungrateful, but I just don't want to do this. And I went to this audition. I hated every minute of it. And when I got out, I thought, no, I have to speak to Jane, like just on a level, going, Jane, I'm so appreciative of the opportunity you got me there, but don't ever send me for anything like that again. And then the communication just got loads better, because I was like, right, these are the kind of things that I want to do. These are the things I really don't want to do, and let's just work to get those. But when we were talking to Archie on this podcast, he was like, look, that is like the thing that lets people down the most. They don't speak to their agents. They don't actually like get clear on what it is that they want. And thus they end up, kind of both people end up wasting their time by, the agent acquiring opportunities maybe that the actor doesn't want, and not spending time on acquiring the opportunities the actor does want. So it's a difficult one. Meg says, I emailed my agent asking for advice. No reply. Oh, Meg, maybe, maybe it's not working. We talk about that in the podcast as well, though. When is it? We talk really openly, honestly, like, when is it actually not working? Because a lot of actors are very impatient and they'll go, oh my God, 3 weeks have gone by or 2 months have gone by and I had no audition. That doesn't mean it's not working. Again, that might mean that you're not being clear on what it is that you want from your agent, and they might not know, everything that you want to be put forward for. But there are times, where it really isn't working, and you've got to figure out when those times are. We talk all about it in the podcast. James says agents work for you, not the other way around. We talk about that in the podcast as well. I mean, Archie's like, look, if there has to be anyone working for anybody, then it should be that. But, I hate looking at it kind of like anyone works for anybody. I'm just like, look, we're just a partnership. We're a team. And we both work to support each other. We're both ultimately building a castle, so to speak, and you're cultivating, I don't know, a garden, and at times one of you is going to be more of the gardener than the flower, and at other times the other one's going to be the flower and the other one's going to be the gardener. You both got to like put in time to nurture that career at different stages, particularly because your agent's going to be looking after anywhere up to, I don't know, 80, 90 people. If you can, be proactive and do a lot of the groundwork yourself. So many opportunities I get because I put hustle in myself. I got a self-tape this week from a casting director for a new BBC 2 drama. That Petch, I think he's just joined on here. Lee Petcher, thanks for helping me with the tape, mate. Although I did help him with 3 self-tapes last week. And that was just that's through nurturing my own relationships with people. And then what happens is, I do that, then the casting director can then call my agent, request for me. My agent deals with that, deals with all the logistics, deals with getting me the scripts and stuff. So we're working together, Sometimes Jane will bring the opportunity to the table, and I'll do my best to bring it home. Other times I'll bring the opportunity to the table, and together we'll do our best to bring it home. So, I think the best relationships are partnerships like that. Alison says, speak to mine often, but I was scared for ages, not now. It is a thing, isn't it? A lot of people, it's just, people I think these days as well, because we use email and text so much. Like, I think some people are afraid to even phone. They're afraid to use the phone because we just don't use it as much anymore. Corinne says, has a great relationship with my agent. They're really good at communicating through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and give breakdowns of submissions each week. That was something we talk about in the podcast. Asking your agent, it should be like, almost just like automatic for your Spotlight breakdown. So if you're on Spotlight and your agent is submitting you via Spotlight, once a month, you should get them to, download you a PDF document very, very quickly, dead easy to do, of what you've been submitted for. And then you can start getting some metrics on your career. I'm a firm believer, I don't know who it was who told me this, but this is something that's been drilled into me for years. You cannot improve on something you cannot measure. So the only way you can measure like your conversion rate of what you're being submitted for what you're being seen for, is to know what the hell you're being submitted for. So you can go, right, someone got really surprised last week. They sent me an email so downhearted. They were like, I've just realized in the last year, I've been submitted for 600 things via my agent. I only got brought in for 2. And I'm like, wow, that's, knowing that is a real gift, because you could have, floated on for years thinking it was all right with a less than 1% hit rate on what you were being seen for. What you've been submitted for to what was converting into auditions. Now you know that. God, it's so easy to improve on that very, very quickly because the hit rate was so low. It's really easy to go, right, okay, who am I, not getting through the door? Well, practically everybody. So something's not right. Either my headshot really is not representative of me and is not attractive, in terms of it's not intriguing for any, whatever reason. It's not piquing anyone's interest in me. That maybe has to change. Maybe my show reel hasn't changed for a year and I'm opening with the wrong scene. So they're seeing this first scene on my reel and every time they're going, nah, not bothered, not interested. Can we mix that up a bit? Am I being proactive? Am I writing to people? Am I putting myself out online? And I'm going to come to a thing in a minute. When you do put yourself out online, be prepared as well. This is something that I've learned over the years. I've been running this site now for 8 years. I've been doing, this is the 315th live broadcast we've done. When you first start putting your hat into the arena, and even now, I do this a lot, be prepared to get shit. Be prepared for people to not like you doing that, because it's going to completely play on other people's insecurities because they're not doing it. And it's very, very easy to boo from the stands. You get how many, overweight, middle-aged men do you get in the football stands, shouting at Ronaldo, "You're shit, mate, you're shit." You're going, well, look at you, look what shape you're in, look at what you're doing. You're not on the pitch playing for £250,000 a week. It's very easy to boo from the stands. It's very difficult to be on the pitch playing. So I'll talk about that in a minute as well. But yeah, sometimes you've got to look at what you're doing and why you're not turning these submissions into auditions. Lee Martin's here. All right, Lee. David Gallagher, good evening as well. Hope you are well. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Valerie's here, back from Cyprus, been away. Totally agree about videos and podcasts. Really helpful. Need to put time in this week to catch up. Well, they're all on this.tv, Valerie. You've got plenty of time. Yas says, got a new agent recently with your encouragement. Yes, love it. Best thing I've done, just email my agent and spoke last week and don't feel weird about contact. You shouldn't. You really shouldn't. When you do feel weird, I don't think it's right. It's just not right. It's not the right marriage of other personalities or just the way you work. Jamie Begg's in the house. All right, Jamie. I hope you are good. Gina's here as well. Kev's here from Dublin. All right, Kev. If you want to go and listen to that podcast, you really should. Honestly, one of the most valuable podcasts I've ever done. That's on this.tv. And I'm going to do more of these phone-in ones where basically you can talk to the guests. So this is going to be giving you one-to-one access to the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, and producers in this industry from your own home for £2.50 a week. Like, nobody does that. Absolutely nobody does that. So I'm going to play you the video that got me some shit. And this is what we talked about, I think, in the I think it was the broadcast before last, so not last week's. That was more on agents as well. And the week before, we were talking about, actors and money, people's money mindsets. And I was saying at this time of the year, particularly, actors aren't focused on investing in themselves, investing in their career, investing in the things that are really going to move the needle. I was saying how I'm trying to give up the £4 coffees, and I'm going to, I'm now drinking green tea that's like 20p, making it myself. There are subscriptions people have for like Netflix, for Amazon Prime, for all kinds of things that they really don't need, but they feel, fulfill or give them some instant gratification that's going to make them feel better about where they are in their life because they're maybe not where they want to be in their career. I was talking to Steve Connolly. I don't know if he's on here tonight. I'm going to play you the video that we captured in this conversation, and then we'll just have a little talk about it because this upsets some people. But I just think this is tough love. I completely agree with everything I say in this, but let me know what you think.
So you cut out your vegan sausage rolls, your Costa coffees, your train journeys when you could have cycled, and you save 175 quid in just 1 month.
Unnecessary direct debit. So Spotify, because Spotify Premium is $9.99.
This is it. Do you know what? People will cancel their direct debit for Spotlight before they will cancel Spotify or Netflix. That is the problem. They'll come at me all the time and they'll be like, Ross, I can't afford Spotlight, or oh god, it's such a rip-off, it's 150 quid. I'm like, mate, it's essential. I can't afford my equity subs, can't afford Nats on this subscription, I can't afford this workshop. Oh, that that whole weekend thing is 200 quid, I can't do that. And these are the same people, because I'm friends with all of them, mate. Like on Facebook, me and Petra having a look on here before. The amount of people who will plead poverty to me, and I'll go on their Facebook profiles now, and the thing at the moment, everyone's going to Ibiza. They're kind of like, they'll go, I can't afford this, but you know what, a 2-week countdown to Ibiza, going out, buy all my clothes, go and buy my gym membership because I'm going to get fit in like 3 weeks by spending 60 quid at David Lloyd. They're just running away from their life because they're just like, I'm just not happy now, so I'm going to go and do this thing for 2 weeks. And then what it does, it gives them massive significance because they can post a picture on Instagram every single day of them floating on a pink flamingo in the middle of a pool with an orange Veuve Clicquot glass, like living my best life. And like, you might feel good about yourself for 2 weeks while people at home are writing, oh, you look great, hon, you look brilliant. But you're going to come back to your job that you hate, and you're not going to be able to leave that job because you're going to be paying off the credit card that you put the 1,500 quid on to go to Ibiza. Every Monday for the next 6 weeks, you're going to feel so terrible about your life and you're getting nowhere in your acting career. You're doing this job that you hate. You're going to post another picture from Ibiza with the hashtag #TakeMeBack. If you just invested that 1,500 quid, and put it on a credit card if you have to, but into your own career, into your acting career, into your own success. You begin having success, get one acting job, pays you $3,000. You can go to Ibiza if you want. You've got another 1,500 quid to reinvest in yourself. And when you do that and you're having fun and you're enjoying what you're doing with your existence, like, it's quite important. Every day's like going on holiday.
Boom. Right. So to clarify, let's not get it twisted. Might seem like tough love, that message, right? But I'm talking about that message is aimed at people who are complaining about not being where they want to be in their life and career in terms of where they want to be in their acting career. They're not getting the auditions they want. They're not working on the jobs that they want. It's for people who are complaining about that and then going and throwing money away, on shit. This is not talking about real poverty. I had loads of people kind of like, it clearly such a nerve with people. Because I think people, and I got a lot of comments where people were like, holy shit, like, that's just punched me in the face. That's me. That's exactly me. That's just punched me in the stomach. That's me. But then you get a lot of other people as well who are kind of like, oh, well, you should talk about how hard it is for the working class. I can't get on Spotlight, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, look, I'm working class, brought up in a council house, got on Spotlight. So many of my friends are not from privileged backgrounds whatsoever. People just seem to jump to conclusions, and I get it completely because they'll watch that video out of context. They won't have a clue who I am. And this is something like that I'm learning, right? When you're putting content out online, it's really interesting. People will, and that's because and don't expect them not to, because it's kind of like unfair to even think that they won't. They're going to take one piece of your content if they've seen it for the first time, and they're going to jump to conclusions. The people who were like, oh, there's one girl that is like, you privileged rat. And I'm like, my God, if you knew my life and you knew my background, I'm anything but privileged. You know what? I'm massively privileged in the fact that I was born a human being on Earth and I was born in the UK. It's kind of where it stops. And I think we're all massively privileged if we're born human beings. We beat the odds of 400 trillion to 1 to be here. And we're born in the UK or a developed country, hugely privileged. Yeah, I understand she doesn't know any of my background. So they're going to jump to those kind of conclusions when they see you now. People will see where you are at now and what you are doing, and they will have no clue where you've come from. So when people do leave negative comments and stuff on anything that you put out, you might put a show reel scene out, and someone might go, oh, well, that's shit. For somebody to watch a piece of your content, watch a show reel scene of yours, I don't know, look at a headshot of yours, watch a short film that you've shot, something that you've done, an improvisation on your phone, whatever. For someone to take in your content and then muster up the energy to write something really negative or violent or nasty, please don't be angry at those people, right? Those people need more love than the people who are writing something nice about your content, because hurt people, right? Something that someone said to me years ago again and has stuck with me. So I tend to go, right, okay, this is really super, super negative that you're writing. I want to know kind of like why, I'm not a bad guy. I just want to know why you feel like that about me. Can I explain? It's something that I can say to you to put it right. And then what you find by the end of the conversation, these people's opinion of you is completely different. So if you do put something out online, the more you put out, be prepared to get, more shit. Because like I say, it's easy to boo from the stands. It's hard to, throw your hat into the arena and actually be on the pitch playing. But don't. It won't do you any good if you want to get defensive and fight back over these comments. Please deploy empathy on people like that, and just try and figure out. It's a really interesting kind of like learning thing, just behaviourally, to go, okay, what is it that that's really upset the person? Janet Lily's in the house. Steve Goodwayne's in the house. So give me your opinions on that. Like if you're completely honest, I know, right? I know I still spend and I'm really doing better at it, but I know I still spend a few things needlessly. I definitely still spend too much money on coffee. I've definitely got a coffee addiction. Alma's in the house. All right, Alma, hope you're doing. Lucy says, great rant, Ross. It's a Grant's rant, isn't it? You took a lot of good common sense, says Linda. Thanks, Linda. Don't see what was wrong in that, says Adam. 100% says Lucy. Everyone's on board. You speak the truth, says Andrea. Oh, see, it's because you lot are all evolved, though, and you get it. Although, do you know what? Of course you get it. You're online at 9:25, developing yourselves, and we're chatting about stuff that's, for people of a slightly, a higher consciousness. Of course you lot are going to get it. Alison says you can pay for Spotlight monthly now. Yes, you can. I'm a single parent. I still pay for Spotlight. She says it's got nothing to do with being working class. Boom. No, honestly, I think people these days are too... They really want to point the finger at everybody. This is, again, I don't want to make a brutal generalization, but this is just from honest to God, guys, what I'm seeing. And I only kind of see it in our industry, but I'm sure it's happening elsewhere as well, because it's just a human condition. But a lot of people never, ever, ever want to point the finger at the self for why they're not where they want to be. And I think it's so disempowering when you don't do that. The most empowering thing for me is to sit here and go, right, why? I did this a few months ago. Before, Act on This, I've been working on it for 8 years, and I was disgusted at how many people were signing up to the site on a monthly basis, considering the quality of the work that was on there, the advice that was on there that was changing my career and some of the people's careers who were on the site. I'm like, how can I bring more people to the table? And I was like, part of you wants to beat your head against the wall and go, right, they just don't get it. People just don't appreciate it, right? Forget it. And then the other part of it is going, Ross, the market's the market. If people aren't signing up, it's completely my fault. It's my fault why you lot didn't know about the site. I wasn't marketing it. I didn't want to market it. I hate sales, or I hate going, oh, you have to get this, you have to get that. I'm not a salesman. I don't like that. I just like putting value out, leaving it there and going, you know what? This is here if you want to have a look at it, and if you want to get involved with it, you do. I realise it's just absolutely not enough. That's like saying, to a casting director, oh, I'm an actor and I'm just over here if you want me. No, it's bullshit. They're going to be like, right, well, there's another 100,000, 50,000 actors around me who are vying for my attention. If you're not going to shout a little bit louder and put a more compelling proposition across, you're out of the game. And that's what I realised I was doing. I wasn't marketing actsonthis.tv well enough. Now, like I say, God, 131 members a month we got last month. Growing at that rate, in a year's time, we'll be able to do some incredible things with this site if people continue to invest in it. we'll be able to create some incredible content. But it was all my fault. And I love in my acting career going, right, Ross, you've not had an audition for 2 months. Well, that's not Jane's fault. That's not, the industry's fault. That's not the fact that, there's any kind of, your background, your history. Oh, it's working class. It's not fair. Bullshit. Have there been people, ask myself this question, are there people who were born with less than you, who have achieved more than you in less time? And the answer's like, yeah. Oh my God, absolutely. There really are. I see them all the time in this industry. I'm like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And there's a little bit of luck involved sometimes, but a lot of the time it's just they're hustling in ways that, we're not. They're not just relying on an agent to click submit on Spotlight. It's not enough. If you listen to the podcast with Archie, he talks about how he backs up his submissions after he's submitting them on Spotlight, in order to get you in the room. But there's a lot of people these days who just want to point the finger at everyone else and go, I'm not succeeding because of this, this, and this. Society says I can't succeed. Thus, it takes all accountability away from me. I can sit at home watching season 8 of Game of Thrones, completely in bliss, going, well, it's not fair. I wasn't given the opportunity to succeed. Yes, you were. You're healthy. Just heard about someone today. And anyone part of 500 Acts of Kindness, by the way? If you're not, get involved with this, right? It's called 500 Acts of Kindness. Julie Hesmondhouse, the actress, put it together on Facebook. Just search for 500, the numbers, Acts of Kindness. Get involved. Julie Hesmondhouse, great actress. You'll know from Coronation Street, played Hayley. She's also in Doctor Who. She was in Broadchurch. Always working on fantastic stuff. She actually just launched a book recently, and she's doing a reading of it in Manchester tonight. Couldn't make it because I'm with you guys. Got to support you lot. And yeah, she's done this 500 Acts of Kindness thing where you all donate a quid a week. You get a standing order set up, £1 a week. And she was like, right, I want 500 of us to get together. So we've got £500 a week to give to an individual in need. Petch, for instance, when his mum died on New Year's Day, bless him, I had no money. Like, literally was like, rang me up. He's like, mate, I just can't afford, don't know what I'm going to do. Can't afford to pay for mum's funeral. And I was like, Julie, look, can Petch be one of the people for the 500 Acts of Kindness? She was like, God, of course. So it's helping individuals, not charities. And I got a message through last night saying, that the person who's getting the £500 this week is a 21-year-old lad with a muscular degenerative disease whose mum was diagnosed with cancer 8 weeks ago and died this week. And he relied on her for everything. Can't dress himself, can't, wash, things that we all take for granted. And I'm like, wow. And then I see actors complaining about bullshit, that like, oh, it's not fair because I can't get this, I can't get a spotlight, I can't get that. I'm like, you're just a loser. There's people in the world who are dealing with so much worse than you. You're just soft. I'm sorry, I think society is just getting soft. People want to get offended by everything. People are probably offended by this broadcast. But people just want to get offended by everything, and actors are soft. You're just soft. If you're not where you want to be, tough love. It's your fault. You're where you want to be because of every decision you've ever made in your life. And you absolutely cannot choose. I completely understand this. I'm not undermining anybody's situation because you can't choose the shit you're dealt with. I've got a lot of shit in my own life. I can't choose that. I can fully choose how I respond to it. A lot of actors aren't responding well enough. They're reacting. They're getting angry. They're lashing out. They're not responding to ultimately like the incredible industry and the opportunity you have got. Where else, on earth can you decide that you're going to basically charge thousands of pounds if you get the opportunity to do a job that you love? That's what acting is. You get a TV job, you're going to get a few grand for doing something that you absolutely love, and you're going to get treated like a king. It's so audacious to think you're entitled to that. It's like, no, you've got to work for that shit. Alison's a prime example, single mum, got herself on Spotlight, doing this Netflix thing at the moment. I think it's wicked, Alison, but I've seen you hustle. And you've taken in every podcast I've put out on actsonthis.tv. I can see, by the way, I won't I won't mention anybody, obviously, but I can see what all you members are doing, by the way, in terms of I can see which videos you've watched, which podcasts you listen to, and I can see what percentage of content on the site you've taken in. So if you're like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere, and then I go on the site and I go, yes, because you've listened to 5% of stuff on the website, you listen to like a podcast. You need to get this stuff in your ears when you're walking everywhere. I'm never without like a podcast in my ears, not my own. I'm not egotistical. I don't listen to my own, but I'm never without like, something that's going to help me expand my mind or, become more motivated or inspired. All right, Angie, how you doing? Bit late, says currently on holiday in Portugal, and you're tuning in from Portugal. Amazing. Sarah says people tend to be complainers rather than problem solvers. Yes, I absolutely have no issue with people who relax and go traveling and enjoy their lives. Life is about balance, but it does annoy me if they do that and complain every day. Just take action. I also totally get people who genuinely can't afford Spotlight, just be patient and write smart goals, work on achieving it daily. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Spotlight now, they do make it monthly direct debit. It has become more affordable for people. Like I say, when the coffee that I get from Costa Coffee is a coconut latte with sugar-free caramel, and a medium one is £3.70. That's more than Spotlight a week. One coffee, Spotlight's £3 a week. That's it. When you break it down to that, Spotlight's not expensive. 100 people go, 150 quid. Yeah, it sounds a lot. It's £3 a week. It's less than one coffee a week. Don't tell me, that it's a rip-off. It's. I can't tell you how much Spotlight has earned me in the 15 years I've been on it. Every job I've had in TV, 25 jobs so far have come from Spotlight. It's so cheap for what it is if you use it properly. Your agent can't submit you for anything without it. You just need it. Tim says, all my classmates are working class except for one. He was chill though. There's honestly, I think like being working class or, being... I see this a lot with immigrants. I'm like, people come to this country and historically have come to this country and other countries, America. A lot of Russians went to, America in like the 80s and stuff. They know what it's like to have nothing. I mean, they literally end up in countries with the clothes on their back. They know what it's like to have nothing to lose. They've had nothing. They're like, I've got absolutely nothing to lose. So they just freaking go for it. They've got like a sickening, crazy work ethic because they're like, look, I've literally got nothing and I know what it's like to have jack shit. I'm so grateful to be in a country where I like have the freedom to at least try. And they end up building incredible lives for themselves and their families. And yet people who are born over here just don't seem to want to try that much. And yeah, my work ethic definitely came from my mum and dad's super working class. My dad came from Scotland, like, God, I don't even know when. Like, I don't know, 1960s, 70s, something like that, I don't know. Literally with a suitcase, nothing, wasn't educated, came from a mining town in Scotland, like 6, 7 brothers and sisters. His dad died when he was 4, ended up going, look, all my brothers are down the pit. I don't want to go down the pit. I'm going to basically just go to Manchester and see what I can do instead. My mum... left school at 16 or maybe 14 or whatever you did back then, went to be a receptionist, not educated, no uni, nothing, very normal. I saw them build a business, a corner shop as a kid that was thriving. The council then came in and they built a spur road that basically took all the traffic around the shop. We used to get loads of traffic past the shop, thriving shop, only shop open on a Sunday, only shop to sell newspapers. Supermarkets didn't sell newspapers. And overnight, because this road was built, literally 75% of the traffic gone. Mum and dad's business through the floor. I overheard conversations like a 9-year-old kid going, look, we're 3 days away from, going bankrupt and being homeless. What can we do? Went to the council, cap in hand. Can we have, basically we've got nowhere to stay. We need a house. And I saw mum and dad start again from scratch. No handouts, nothing. My dad had a sickening work ethic, was working for £1.20 an hour as a security guard doing night shifts. And then he'd come back in the day and then he'd work in a factory, a pie factory, like shoving in like sausage meat into pies, for Wall's pies. And he must have got by on like 4 hours sleep, working for an absolute pittance. But over 15 years, got us all back on our feet. It's just like work, no privilege, just hard freaking work. So for me, that's why I can't stand complaining. And sometimes I might sound harsh, but it's just because I've witnessed it, and I still put 16 hours a day into my life myself. I know I should definitely switch off more and get more of a balance where I do go and like have fun. Pets dragged me to the cinema to watch Pokemon on Saturday. I was sat there quite anxious. I wasn't doing any work, but I enjoyed it. It was good. But yeah, honestly, like, just don't tolerate like complaining. Just think the only people who will tolerate your complaining are your family who love you the most, and that's fine because they're gonna. That's absolutely what they're there for. Your mum's probably gonna tolerate you complaining. You're like, oh, it's not fair. She go, oh, of course it's not, love. It's not your fault. That's what our families are for. But the only other people who will tolerate you complaining are other losers around you who want to complain as well. Again, it's just brutal. Don't be one of those people. If you're not where you want to be, you have the power to change it. You genuinely do. And if I can help you in any way, please let me know as well. Nothing to do with class, somebody just said there. Missed that comment. People moan and do nothing to change their life, says Janet. Keep your eye on the squirrel. My squirrel is my acting career. Keep your eye on the squirrel. I've never heard that one before. Gordon's in the house. All right, Gordon, hope you're well. Kerry's here, so it's just honest, innit? I'm skint all the time, and I'm investing my money on travelling to Manchester from Carnarvon once, twice a week to go to acting workshops. My friends don't get it. I still see them, but I just drink my pint extremely slowly in Wetherspoons. Those who don't get it make me feel like my priorities are wrong. No, Kerry, you've got it so right. That's so amazing. Honestly, like, you're going to win. You will win. With that commitment and work ethic, I promise you'll win. It will take a long time still, potentially, because things don't happen overnight. I've discovered the fastest way to get to where you want to be is slowly. Genuinely, honestly, so many times Act on This is only just really getting to the point where I'm like, right, this is growing in the way that I want it to grow. It took 8 years. I was putting 4 or 5 grand a year of my own money into Act on This. I'll be completely transparent with figures. Act on This owed me £32,000 until last year. 32 grand of my own money, and if you look at it on paper, you'd have gone, God, you should just give up. You should have given up on that years ago. You just wasted all this time and all this money. But I'm like, look, I just feel my gut is still telling me, my heart and my head. There was no like conflict there whatsoever. I was like, no, this is like, I don't care. I'm doing this. There's nothing I'm more passionate about. And now I'm seeing it, really begin to take off. And I get emails every day from people going, God, just listen to that. Got a part in this. Just got an agent. Just got a meeting with them. All this stuff. I'm like, right, it's having the impact that I wanted it to have. Thus, it's only going to grow more because people are going to speak positively of it. Your acting career is the same. It's only going to grow because people are going to speak positively of you because you're investing in yourself. You're helping other people. And you're not wasting money on dumb shit. So fair play, Kerry. I think it's wicked. Keep doing what you're doing. If anyone thinks Spotlight isn't worth it, they're mistaken, says Alma. When I was between agents, I got auditions even submitting myself. Plus, it gives you loads of people to follow on social media and it widens your industry knowledge. It's basically another tool in your bag. Yeah, and also, you know what? I saved about 400 quid when I bought a new Mac. Admittedly, it was a crazily expensive Mac because I use it for video editing and everything in my life. It's for the business, really. But yeah, I saved about 9-10% on a Mac. If you go into your Spotlight account, click on discounts at the top, you'll save money on loads of stuff, everything from like cinema tickets to food, haircuts, Apple, products. There's loads of stuff on there you can save money on. So you get your money back that way. Steve says people look for a reason to be offended nowadays. They do, Steve. One person who's probably impossible to offend is Steve. He's very offensive, but he probably won't be easily offended. Definitely. Joy in Equity, says Ricky. Yeah, equity is another one. You don't have to pay loads of money for. It's done on a means tested, isn't it? Depending on how much you're spending, but you can't really go, right, I'm going to take all the equity packed contracts when I get a job and I want to be protected, but I'm not going to pay like my £8 here and there or whatever it is, to equity. You get a pension through equity. They do great work. Equity's a big one. Wendy says people are too entitled these days. Sounds like we're having a little moan tonight, doesn't it? But we're not. I just want to galvanise everyone here's work ethic and going, what you're doing is right. Like Kerry says, when she's around those people who don't get it, she feels she's doing the wrong thing. You're not. This is how winning is done. Honestly, you've got to obviously switch off sometimes. That's something that I honestly struggle with. I know I do. I really, you know what I wanted the other day, right? I wanted to buy a Nintendo Switch, the little games consoles. Used to be a right geek. It's where I've told you the whole story of me leaving that computer game shop I worked in for 10, 11 years. And I hated games when I was in that shop. But initially as a kid, I loved them. And Chris Stone, the director, brought Mario Kart round to my flat on the Switch. And we put it on the big TV in my front room there. And I loved it. I just loved it. And then the other day, eBay on Saturday had a voucher for 10% off anything on eBay up to £1,000. You could get like 100 quid off. And a Nintendo Switch is like 280 quid. I don't spend any money on myself. Honestly, it all goes back in to the business, into producing podcasts. I just love it. That is like computer gaming for me, is like creating something, editing something, filming a video. It's all technology and I'm a bit of a geek. But I thought, you know what? Go on, treat yourself. And I could have got 10% off it on eBay. I was hovering over the buy button so long that by the time I was like, right, do it, it had gone past midnight on Saturday and the offer had expired. So I couldn't get it. And I'm like, Ross, you dickhead. Like, just have a little bit of time off. I know I struggle. Honestly, that's one of my, like, I don't know, like, worst battles right now is to go, right, enough is enough. Just go and enjoy yourself. I feel guilty when I watch TV, even though, like, that's what I do as a living. I feel I have to, like, watch a documentary or something to expand my mind. Oh, no, I can't just sit and watch something for the enjoyment of watching it. Unless I'm researching a podcast guest, I've got an actor coming on, like, right, I'm going to watch, obviously, your series, whatever you've been in. But yeah, I struggle with that. I really struggle with that. So I've kind of got it the other way around. I need to just chill a little bit. I said no to full-time runner's job on a Welsh soap. Kerry says they were so understanding and they know my goals. And yes, they do ask me to auditions. My partner doesn't know I declined the job. Honestly, when you say yes to something, Kerry, by default you say no to something else. That's something that I've got pretty good at, actually. I'm very adamant about what I want to do, and I'll get opportunities sometimes to do stuff that's quite cool. But I'm like, you know what? Like, that's really cool. Massively appreciate the offer. It doesn't set me on fire. Not literally. Don't want to do that either. But that doesn't excite me as much as something else. So I'm just going to say no because I just want to work on things that I'm really passionate about. So it's good, your no is really powerful, to be honest. I think there's something like, people have got it twisted. They think that they have to say yes to every opportunity. There's a lot of fear of missing out, and people will tell you, just say yes to everything. I don't think that's right at all. Most successful people I know say no to practically everything. And they say yes to the things they are absolutely, so passionate about, or like really no fit with the direction that they're taking their life in. And that will change as well as you go through different seasons in your life. Definitely. Jill says, took your advice, trying hard to listen to stuff now. Yeah, so Jill was struggling to take in content and acts on this, because there is, there's a shitload. If we go over to the site now, where is it here? When you go to the members area, it's kind of laid out into, so you've got the premium membership here, you've got your community underneath, we have a private community on the site as well, where people can get advice from each other. But you've got like different features on the left-hand side here, so features with actors, features with agents, features with casting directors, directors, other industry guests or whatever. And you click into these sections, and when you first join up, I get it, you're going to be like completely overwhelmed. You're like, oh my God, like look at all these podcast shit. And these are all like an hour and a half, 2 hours long. There's hundreds of hours worth of content on here. There's loads. So I get it that people are like, right, okay, I don't know where to start. Nearly all of these, not everything, because some are videos, but nearly all of these are podcasts. So you can literally pull your phone out, hit play. This is Archie's podcast, the one I just went up on the site today. Hit play, lock your phone, put it in your pocket, get your headphones in, and rather than, what I used to do if I was struggling to take content in, I'd get off the train a stop or 2 stops early. I was on like the local stopper service home from Manchester to where I live in Urmston. And I'd go, I'm going to walk the 1.5 miles. It's going to take me 20 minutes or 25 minutes. I'm going to walk slowly, and I'm going to take in this podcast. I did it today with a podcast from Lewis Howes. I dropped my mum off at her house. I had to take her this morning to get her ears washed out at the the doctor's because she had a blocked ear. And I thought, right, I'm going to drop you off at yours, and then she was like, oh, let me get you a taxi back because you've taught me. I'm like, no, it's fine. Going to walk the 2 miles home, and I put a podcast in, and so grateful for the exercise, burn the calories, stay in shape, and you're expanding your mind as well. So whatever you're doing, Jill, if you're in the car, or you're in the gym, or you're walking the dog, or you're washing the pots, just get one of these on. There's so many great podcasts on here, honestly, and you can always you can always pause it, and then just as long as you keep the page open on your phone or wherever you listening to it on. Pause it, start it again, next time, and just, you'll get through them eventually. I mean, some of them are long. I mean, what's that one with Danny Miller? That's an hour and a half. Because they are in-depth chats. I like to kind of get to know the person as an actor or a director or a casting director or whatever, but also as a person. I think it's so important to, bring the humanity to all the features that I do. Because ultimately, I think that's some of the most interesting stuff. There's only so much you can be like, right, so what's it like being an actor on a really big show? Oh, well, it's exactly the same as the other 12 actors who've told you what it's like on a really big show. I want to know what people's fears are. I want to know what drives them. I want to know the biggest adversity they've faced, how they've got through it. The days that they don't want to do anything and they can't face the world, how did they get through that? They're the things that we find interesting, what they do outside of work. So we talk a lot about, not just their career, but everything else as well. Andrew was filming in Portugal. Holy shit, Andrew, nice. I thought you were on holiday. No, he was just filming. Nice. Tim says there's so much content on the site. Oh my God, I just joined and I don't know where to start. I was listening to a podcast and then I got an email about the live broadcast. Yeah. Oh no, I get it. No, it is. There is no order for anyone who's joining. There is no order on actonthis.tv to anything. I mean, ultimately, go through stuff, and just whatever just piques your interest. Just go. I'm going to listen to that today. And you know what? Some of the stuff on there, you'll be like, not interested on that. I know people will probably flick through the podcast that I did with Glyn Jelly, the accountant, on actors, tax, and finance, because you go, absolutely not interested. But you know what? One of the most interesting podcasts I've done. There's advice in that, financial advice in that podcast for anyone who is self-employed that will save you thousands of pounds a year. I'm interested in saving thousands of pounds a year. But I know people are like, oh, 2 hours on tax. Oh, sod that. This is the stuff that when you know it, you go, oh my God, I didn't know that. I could have been claiming this. I could have been claiming that. I didn't understand how, this works and that works. Maybe I should set up as a company. All these different things that you'd pay. You'd probably pay somebody a couple of £100 for that kind of financial advice from an independent financial advisor. Me and Glyn just sit here literally at this desk I'm at now and just, talk all about it. Glyn's my accountant and he's absolutely freaking amazing. But I know people look at that one and go, oh, no, I just want to look at the ones with the celebrities in. Don't prejudge anything. Leave cynicism at the door. Any feature you see on there, it wouldn't be on there unless it had been hugely valuable in my life. I don't bring people on at the website unless I've had insane value from them or watching them, or I've done something, with a company that they might run or something like that, and it's legit. Nobody... I'm offered money sometimes for people to come on and do podcasts. I'm like, absolutely not interested. Absolutely not interested in promoting your business because I don't know anything about it. I don't use it. I wouldn't recommend it. There's a lot of bullshitters in this industry. It does my head in. I saw somebody this morning. That's annoying. Join the Facebook group. Join the Act on This Facebook group. 10,000 actors in there. All they do, they join it straight away. They try and sell you some bullshit. I'm like, people are stupid. If you ever want to sell something or a service... Facebook groups are an incredible thing to get your service out there. Join the group, and for the first 4 weeks, add nothing but value to the group. Get into conversations, advise people, give free things to people, make people like you. The first thing you do is join the group, and then you try and sell the people who I've nurtured for 8 years some shit that I don't know. You're getting banned. And that's what I had to do this morning. The same guy posted the same thing twice over the last couple of days. I'll delete it first of all. Then if they come back and they just paste the same bullshit in again, gone. Because I feel responsible for you lot. So, yeah, if you've got a business, maybe, just don't do that. Definitely don't do that. Add value first. People always have negative opinions of your choices, said somebody there. And then I missed there's so many comments coming through. Facebook's... 121 comments just flew through there, so I missed that something there. Ever thought of running for Prime Minister, Ross? No. Could you imagine what we call our party if we set one up? I tell you what, I'd sort out one thing, you might think badly of me for this, right? Those who did Bulletproof Actor, the mindset program that I run for actors, one of the things that I get everyone to do for 30 days when they join that program with me. I only launch it once a year. So really sort people's mental game out and really get them to attack this industry and break down all the limiting beliefs, that they've probably had their whole life. One of the things I make people do is a news blackout. I think the media and the news, we know we're served statistically 17 pieces of negative news for every one piece of positive news. And I'm like, look, that just does not sit well with me. I don't want my mindset fueled with negative, news the first time, first hour I wake up or whatever. Deleted all the news apps off my phone years ago. I don't follow it. And I know it's probably sacrilegious because right now people are going, you should know what's going on with Brexit. You should know what's going on with that. I'm like, look, for me, I just focus on the things that I know I can control, and I cannot control government. As much as I'd like to think I have influence, right? I definitely cannot control government. All I can control is to the end of my fingertips. And I just need to make sure that the people that, I care about, my immediate, people on my inner circle, my family, obviously care immensely about all you lot. If I can help you guys with anything, it goes without saying. But I just have to look after them because I can't look after everybody else. So regardless of what's going on in the world, I'm like, you know what? I don't need to know about it. And I know people who be like, oh, people have said to me before, like, oh, well, that's a bit shit because, you know, as an actor, you need to know about current affairs. And I'm like, honestly, like, don't think that my opinion's right on this, or I don't think there is a right opinion on it. I've never been asked about my opinion on current affairs or ever had to have any knowledge of current affairs or politics or anything in any audition, in any of the jobs I've ever done on TV. I've never needed to know that. So I stay well back. So in terms of me being PM, I mean, I reckon I could do it, but don't know. I just stay in my lane. I talk about what I know. You'll never see me write anything political online, and that's because I don't know about it. You know, I like to feel, you know, I've got a general gist of what's going on, but I will only ever give advice out on things that I really feel I know intimately, and that's really on the acting industry and voiceover and business, online business. I've got so far to go, but I feel what I've been through in the last 8 years creating this community, you know, effectively this online business, I can advise people a little bit on that and all the mistakes that I've made, because God, I've made a lot, and that's something that I've realized as well the older I get, is like how humbled I have been in terms of, like, you know, when you're younger you think you know it. I was just thinking this today, I was having a walk and I was like, God, you know what, like when I was 24 I thought I knew everything. And I remember my dad used to say stuff to me like, whatever mate, yeah, you're old, you just don't get it. And I think this is probably a positive thing, but I think the older I've got, you know, I think I know less now than I probably knew 5 years ago. I'm like, I just realised that kind of like no one, I don't care how old anyone is on here, none of us have got it figured out, have we? None of us have got this industry figured out. You know, anything I say in these podcasts as well, or any of these broadcasts, like, just don't take it as gospel. All I'm doing is sharing with you what's working in my career and what's not working in my career. I don't have it all figured out. You know, we're all just on this journey trying to figure it out together, and that's what I do at actonthis.tv. I just curate that content, put it online, you know, and just, you know, have really honest chats about it. And some of the stuff you'll take from it and go, that works for me. It's what I got from drama school, you know. Like, I just took a few core things from drama school. So much of drama school didn't work for me. Just didn't. Got to the end of it, I remember in my final appraisal, like with the head of the year, Neve, bless her, she's awesome, Neve Dowling, she's great, but she was like, Ross, she's Irish, I can't do an Irish accent, she's like, you've just smiled your way through the course. And I was like, yeah, it's because kind of like I've taken so, you know, not taking it like not seriously. I've never bought into anything to the point where I'm like, this is gospel, this is the Bible, I have to do this with Shakespeare, I have to do this with Chekhov, you know, Stanislavski is everything. I'm just like, no, you know what, I'm just going to take the little bits from everything that I go, that works for me, but that really doesn't, not having that at all. And that works for me. I think that's probably pretty good. I don't know if that resonates with any of you lot, but like, don't ever think any acting class you go to or any book you read or any of these broadcasts I might be on or anyone else might be on or any of the podcasts that I create, don't think any of it is like, you know, gospel. Really isn't. You've just got to find your own, you know, your own way. Andrew says, such similar parents, Ross. My parents went bankrupt twice and now own a holiday lodge complex. Never give up as long as you're breathing your opportunity. Andrea, totally on the same page as you, 100%. And congrats to your parents for cracking on. Mum and dad didn't have a business after that. They just built a stable, regular kind of life. My dad got a regular job. My mum's got this eye condition that I've got, so my mum's blind now. So she couldn't work or anything, but she did an amazing job of bringing me and my brother up. You know, regardless. Like, I just feel like usually, if anyone's, you know, people go, oh, privileged. I'm privileged in the sense that, yeah, I think I was just born to two parents who really loved us and just wanted the best for us. But yeah, we didn't have loads of money growing up. I mean, God, at all. My mum would like give you a last £5. Like, you know, she's so generous. You know, she's still got clothes from like 15 years ago. I'm like, Mum, you really need to buy yourself some new clothes. Oh, what do I need new clothes for? But yeah, you can't just let one setback dictate the rest of your life. You know, they lost a business that was, I mean, really thriving. I was at for the first couple of years, actually, that was a little bit of privilege. I was at a private school for like 2 or 3 years, from 4 till about 6, 7. As soon as the business went, obviously that all went. I just went to normal school after that. But the first couple of years, yeah, I guess I had a great start there. But yeah, they had a really booming business. It was, you know, we were really well off, you know, for the first few years of my life. And then bang, literally, 3 days from being homeless, you know, and had a lot of debt. Do you know what? One thing that I'll never forget. There was a guy, because mum and dad had a shop, a corner shop, and they sold sweets. And the guy who supplied the sweets was an independent like sweet man. It wasn't like a, you know, a national company or anything like that. And mum and dad had about This is back like 30 years ago. I had about 10 grand's worth of debt to him when the shop went bankrupt, and we basically, we went to the council going, look, we just need a house. We're going to have nowhere to live in like a day. And my dad kept asking him for the invoice. Listen, Chris, we'll find a way to pay this back, because he was super proud. My dad just wouldn't take a handout from anybody. And Chris was going, yeah. No, I'm on it, mate. I'm on it. I'll get it to you next week. Get it to you next week. Never got it to my dad. I mean, he was a millionaire, but he just was like, I never forget that kind of just kindness to go, right, I see a guy and his wife with 2 young kids. They're completely on their arse. I'm not going to ask him for that money, even though my dad was so desperate to pay him back. Eventually, he just had to swallow his pride and go, look, I've asked you 100 times for that invoice. And he never gave it him. So I think when I believe a lot in that. I think when you help somebody who can never pay you back, it's really cool, really good thing to do. Steve said, takes a lot to offend him. I know it does, Steve. I found Stephen Sanders by accident. I'll tell you about it, says Bobby. Bobby's coming over in August for the meetup. So 6th of July, we're having a meetup in Manchester and in London. Home Theatre in Manchester, Saturday the 6th of July, 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. And in London, it's at BFI, Benugo Bar, South Bank, 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Wendy and Mel will be there. I'll be hosting the one in Manchester. I think Sophia's bringing cakes. Mel's bringing cakes to the London one. If you are new to this community, people are joining, people are joining the mailing list at 60 people a day right now. So there's probably people on this broadcast who've never been here before. Please get involved with the community. Come and get a membership at outsonthis.tv. If maybe you're not ready for that yet, you really should be. Just crack on with that. But if you're not, and you're like, I don't know what this community is, I've only just joined it, come to one of the in-person meetups. I would love to meet you. We had 40-odd people in Manchester at the last one. We nearly took over the whole of the cafe at home. Probably going to have to get a private room, I think, at Home Theatre if they get any bigger. But they're just super inspiring events. Everyone is so nice. And Steve Connolly put something in the Facebook group the other day. I thought that was so... it surprised me, actually, because I didn't think he was like that, but I thought it's so common. He said, listen, when I first went to an Acts on this meetup, I had to kind of walk... I took 4 attempts to walk to the group. He got in the place and he saw us all and he was like, no, I can't do it. Walked away a bit. No, I have to go back. And, he just suffered from a bit of that social anxiety. I think that's probably super common. People are like, I don't want to come to one of these events on my own. Please come, even if it's on your own. Just come straight up to me. Honestly, just welcome me with open arms. These events are so supportive. There's no hierarchy. They're just about helping actors kind of get clear on what they want. We all share information. Who was it last month who came? I gave him a bit of advice. I was like, listen, this is what I think you should do. He'd been struggling to get in the room with any casting directors for 2 years. I said, right, okay, let's get clarity on what it is you want. We put a little plan together. On the Monday after the Saturday, he'd got an audition at Hollyoaks because he'd acted on, that's the whole point of act on this, he'd acted on some stuff that we basically went through at this event, because I can do that in more depth with you when I'm with you, as opposed to, on a Facebook Live or something. It's obviously much harder. So please come along. It could really change your career very quickly. We just share, we give everything away, just share the love, help everybody out, and all chip in. And then we hold you accountable, because if you come the next month and you've not done what we told you to do, you are buying the cakes and the coffee. How do you submit through Spotlight? I've just rejoined. So there's something called Spotlight Link, Francesca. So if you go into if you log in, and then you'll see on the left-hand side, amongst all the menus, you'll see, I think it's still called Spotlight Link there, and you can basically tick some boxes for the kind of suggestions, the kind of briefs that you want to receive via email. You can choose what they are. And then every time you get an email, it'll say Spotlight suggestion, we're looking for such and such a thing, and then you can click on that, log in, and you can submit yourself that way. Not all breakdowns go out on Spotlight Link, because casting directors couldn't possibly do that. They can't send it out to everybody who's represented and unrepresented. So you won't get the biggest jobs, but I have still seen big jobs go out on Spotlight Link when they're looking for something very specific. So you never know. So yeah, that's how you can find out what's going on. But I think you do still have to go in there and actually kind of say, yeah, I do want to receive those emails. Now we've got GDPR and all that nonsense around privacy. Who agrees with me here, right? I think having less privacy is a good thing. This is controversial. We'll end on this because it's gone. Bloody hell, it's gone 10 o'clock. Listen, right? I'm doing a drama at the moment for Netflix, and it's all based on people's dark history on the internet. I can't tell you more than that. But it's all about what people do behind closed doors and how it's not very good and can come back to bite you in the ass. And I was like, when I think about privacy, right, the only things that are done in secret generally in people's lives are bad things. They're things people don't want other people to know they are doing. Thus, I feel the less privacy we have, the higher people's moral standards have to become. It's going to make us all better people because we're like, shit, I cannot hide. I can't do this dodgy scam, or I can't do this thing online, or I can't cheat on this person, or I can't Facebook message this person when I'm seeing this person because, like, I've not got as much privacy. It's going to make people raise their standards and go, I have to be a better human being. It's my hot take on it. Maybe it's controversial. Let me know. Ollie Reynolds in the house. All right, Ollie, how you doing, man? We need to Zoom soon, mate. Zoom's a video chat program, by the way. It's not, and it's nothing weird. Didn't mean we got to Zoom, like, got to run away somewhere. I'm playing Fallout 4 as I'm listening to this, says Alison, my way of unwinding. Alison's a gamer. You need to plan unwind time as well as work. It's good for your mental health. No, it definitely is. Definitely is. Ben says, of course, it's complete nonsense, and this person has never met me. Sometimes you just hear the most remarkable things, and you've got to ignore it. What's that? What are you talking about, Ben? What's he talking about? Someone giving you some shit online? Yeah, when you do, like I say, when you throw your hat into the arena, be prepared for it. But I love it. I'm like, look, I know I can't please everybody, and everyone's opinion's valid, right? I respect any human being, like, who's sharing this planet at the same time as me. We're only here for such a small snapshot of time. So by default, you're going to get my respect initially just for existing alongside me. And it might be a bit hippie, but I do feel that all living things are connected in a way. So I feel like, you know, I've got more compassion for human beings. So like, in a way, on a level, we're probably like, you know, we're connected in some way. Still doesn't stop people being a dick from time to time. Seriously, this makes me feel a lot better about working the day job in retail so I can afford to fund trips to London for workshops and networking trips. A lot of people look and wonder why I don't have a real job, but they can't see what is going on behind the scenes to make my acting career happen. So Jane, honestly, feel it. I feel your frustration. I was in that job for 11 years. 11 years. There comes a point where you're like, look, you know, I can't over-invest in this job in terms of, like, I can't, you know, you basically need to do the bare minimum you can do to get by in that job you hate, and then you need to put everything you possibly can into developing the career that you want. And that's really hard because you will come home. I used to come home from a day at work, like, you know, I'd worked a shift 10 till 6, felt like shit. All I wanted to do, you know, it's back when I lived with my mum, just wanted to cook my tea, put my feet up, and I just want to watch, like, you know, banal TV. I knew that was never going to get me anywhere, you know. So, you know, you've then got, you know, you work your 10 till 6, but how about you know, invest in your 6 till 10 when you get home into what you want to do? And trust me, those hours add up. The compound effect of those 4 hours a night really add up. That's 20 hours a week. Still have the weekend off if you want, but 20 solid hours into something that you really want to do, you can really make some headway. So yeah, when your bosses at work are giving you shit, please deploy empathy on them. Deploy positivity. There was a guy, Andy, used to give me so much shit at work. He used to make me do the most ridiculous things because it made him feel better about, you know, where he was and he had power over me. Never once really fought him back. So I was like, you know what, mate, this is your life. This is what you have chosen to do for it forever. I'm only here for a short time. 11 years wasn't that short, but I'm like, look, just going to deploy compassion onto you because, like, you clearly, remember what I said before, hurt people. So if people give you shit at work, just roll with it. It's fine. You're not going to be there forever. I suffer from overwhelm, so I'm glad you are exploring this. Yeah, honestly, overwhelm happens, Alma, when you feel you've got to do everything now. That's the thing. And you got to realize that you don't have to get everything done right now. You need to step back. You need to go, right, what's the one thing I could do right now that's going to make everything else easier or unnecessary? And I'm going to attack that. I can still get overwhelmed now. I'll sit here on a Monday with my list. I'm like, right, I've got to put this podcast out. I've got to promote it. Do you know, once you've created a podcast and you've edited it, that's the easiest part. Putting it out there and getting it to you guys, emailing it out, putting it on Facebook, putting it on Instagram, cutting the trailer, you know, putting it on Twitter, replying to everybody. That's the real work that kicks in. And I'll sit here and go, God, I've got all that to do. I've got these other things in my life that have nothing to do with any of my work to do. I might have a voiceover, I might have this, I might have that. You know, then I'm like, oh God, the flat's a mess. God, I need to tidy it all up. I can feel really overwhelmed if I'm not careful. But for me, it's just about prioritizing, like, what's really important. No one's ever died because they've, you know, not mopped the floor on time. I have to remind myself that sometimes. Definitely. God, there's another 157 comments. I can't cope with it all. I hugely appreciate everyone being here. I've missed all these comments. My God, Richard Haler's now here from Miami. Says, love the podcast with Archie today. Everyone's chatting all together. God, this is amazing. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. Do get over to actsonthis.tv. Check out the podcast that I put out today. I'm going to try and line up I bet I can't do it without switching it over. Can't do it. I was going to put out the trailer for you, but I can't put out the trailer because I've not got it. I've not got it to hand. But yeah, go over to actsonthis.tv, or also you can get over to YouTube. I put the vlog out today. I can show you where that is. People might not know about this. I've got 2 YouTube channels. One's for Acts on This, but the other one's for the behind-the-scenes vlog of everything that I kind of do in my life and at Acts on This. Most of it is behind the scenes of me creating the podcasts and stuff, so you get extra content that's not in a podcast. If you go to youtube.com/watch Ross, I know it sounds a bit egotistical, that, but it's just what I called it back in the day, and now I've not changed it. It's not all about Ross. It's very little is about me. It's all about the guests, But yeah, if you go to youtube.com/watch Ross, you'll see all the episodes here. There's the brand new one there, episode 55, How to Get an Acting Agent with Icon Actors Management Agent Archie Purnell. That's the one from today. You got like 20 minutes, 25 minutes of the podcast there. It's a 2-hour podcast on actsonthis.tv though. So do get yourself over to actsonthis.tv. Get yourself into the Watch News section up here, and then listen to the full podcast right there. You'll need a premium membership to do that, but like I say, man, it's £2.50 a week. It needs to go up really, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and keep it as cheap as possible for as long as I possibly can. Got some great podcasts out next week as well. Got one with a guy called Liam Collins, who just created his first short film called My Toughest Battle. Brooke Vincent plays Sophie Webster in Coronation Street, was in it. Talks all about how he funded that film. It's amazing. Massively inspired me, because that's the thing that I've gone, I've probably got a short film in me, but how do I fund it? He had no clue. He talks about how he raised 20 grand to do that, and he had no clue when he started off to do it. So that's super inspiring. That's out next week as well for premium members. Right, so it's snippets on YouTube, says Alma. Yes, Alma. So the vlogs that I put out are basically behind the scenes snippets, like 20 minutes of what is like normally an hour and a half or a 2-hour podcast. I just put a few highlights out on YouTube on the Watch Ross channel, just show people the guest, and so you get a feel for what the person looks like and how they are, if you ever meet them in your acting career. But if you want to listen to the full podcast, they're all on actsonthis.tv. Definitely. Ben says, can swear by the London meetups. Mel and Wendy were great helping me with making a decision on whether or not to take a job in Abu Dhabi. Big thanks. And you did that, Ben, because you're there now, aren't you, mate? That's what you did, isn't it? Which is amazing. I love it. Love the way we've got people from like all around the world tonight. You can so create your own film, Ross, as Alma. I've got the theme in my head. I don't know I've not got the plot yet, Alma, but I'll try and get people, if we do it, I'll try and get people from the community to be in it. That would be awesome. Right, I'm going to have to close the comments down on here, so apologies, you lot. I won't be able to see your comments coming through now. I'm going to start wrapping up. But yeah, thanks so much for those people who have joined for the first time tonight. There are people on here who have never been on here before. We do this every Monday night. Hugely appreciate you spending this time with me. I know there's a lot of stuff, fighting for your time that isn't me, just waffling on a Monday night. So really do appreciate you being here. If I can help anybody in any way, with anything acting career related or not, please reach out. Let me know, how I can help you. You can always get me on Twitter at Ross A. Grant, at Acts on This TV. You can drop me an email if you're a member of actsonthis.tv. You'll find contact details on that when you join. I send you an email from my personal account. You can drop me an email back there. Sometimes it takes me a little while to get back to people. But I will absolutely do my best. Honestly, no bullshit. People are really surprised when I reply. Like, I didn't think I was going to reply. I'm like, I'm not going to tell you to email me that I'm going to reply. I'm not going to reply. So I will try and help people. But do come to the Acts on This meetup on the 6th of July. We get lots of time there. We get a good 3 hours together, so we can go through an awful lot. So thanks for being here. yeah, it's kind of it for tonight, really. What were the main takeaways from tonight? Basically, don't moan, don't moan, don't complain. It's never quiet out there. Communicate to your agent. Ultimately, be grateful for where you are. Appreciate you beat the odds of being born that were 400 trillion to 1. And if you're not where you want to be right now, get out there and do something about it. You really can do something about it. Don't point the finger at anyone else. Point the finger back at yourself. It's empowering. Take control. Get out there. Do something great. And I'll speak to you very soon. All right. Thanks so much for being here. Bye for now.